Right, who is going to be player number 1 on our start bench sell? And I can tell you, we have got well over 10 and somewhere under 19. Here we go. First player for you, Casemiro. Start, bench, or sell this summer. I am going to run polls on this, but I'm also going to, well, yeah, we are going to run a poll. It's the best way of doing it. But look, I think in relation to Casemiro, for me, let me relay you the facts, and then while you're voting, I will come to mine when I can see a bit of your votes as well to make it fairer. Look, Casemiro is in his early 30s. He's on £300,000 a week. He's been injured twice this season. He picks up a lot of yellow cards. If you let Casemiro go, there is talk we may even get as much as £30 million for him if he goes to Saudi Arabia. If he goes anywhere else, he's going nowhere. So he's only going to Saudi Arabia. That's the only place he can go. And if we got £30 million for Casemiro and he wanted to go to Saudi Arabia, I probably would do the deal. But there's a massive problem with that because you are basically rebuilding your midfield again. The positives with Casemiro are, if you keep him, the influence he's got on the likes of Kobe Mainoo, on whoever else the new midfielder is, you've got continuity, you've got experience in the dressing room, and as we saw in the second half against Aston Villa, he was world class in that game at Villa Park. So you're losing a lot of talent, a lot of experience, and a lot of nurturing in the dressing room. And that can be a big hole if you allow him to go. So I get the fact that £30 million, I think for me, if he wants to go, and it's Saudi Arabia, let him go because you can cash in and you can remove the wage. But if he doesn't want to go, this is not a deal I would be looking to, move forward myself. I think if he wants to go, let him go. If he doesn't want to go, we keep him, we bring another midfielder in, and we use him as a role model, like Hobby says as well. Let's have a look what you've got. Start, bench, sell. 48% of you are saying start, 19% of you are saying bench, and 33% of you are saying sell. How does that actually work? Well, start means you want to keep him as a first team player. Bench means that you might want him to progress to being more of a bit part player next year. And obviously sell means sell him. I will define it like this. I'm not going to sit on the fence. I am going to keep him. Unless he comes out with a transfer request himself, if the decision's up to me and I'm the director of Football Bridge, I'm going to keep him. If he knocks on my door and he wants to go, like with anybody, I'm probably going to let him go. Next player we're going to go to is this, and also staying in the midfield. So get ready to vote on this. Scott McTominay. We spoke about him this morning, of course, and therefore, I suppose in many ways, we almost know the result of this one. I don't need to run a poll on it. 30% of you would keep him, 70% of you would sell him. I've got to be honest, this one's going to be a very, very quick one for me. I think in relation to Scott McTominay, it's very easy. It's very easy. You let him go. The club aren't going to do that. The club are going to keep him, of course, we know that. But he's got a monetary value. He's been playing for the club for what feels like 20 years. He's still treated like he's 19. I think that with someone like Scott McTominay, he's only ever going to be at his very best what he's been this season. A bit part player who can pop up with a goal. But I feel it's a bit chaotic. I don't think it's the way that we want to play. So I would be cashing in. And the positive is, if I was him, I'd be knocking on the door. I know he'll go, well, I love Man United. But like, Phil Neville loved Man United. Nicky Butt loved Manchester United. I don't think we can use that as, oh, well, he loves Man United. And he shouldn't use that himself. He's got one career. Nicky Butt and Phil Neville, in their late 20s, went to play first team football at Everton and Newcastle. He should be doing the same. He's not going to play first team football for Man United very often. If he goes to a West Ham, he'll play every bloody week. And I think that's what he should do. I would sell Scott McTominay, and so would 70% of you. Next up, we've got Christian Eriksen. So, look, get voting on this one. I think in relation to Christian Eriksen, it's again quite an easy, quick one for me. And we have got Rashford, Anthony, Bruno to come as well. So it's not just all the obvious ones we're going to do. Sean, thank you. Says you're a legend. Welcome to the members. Always nice to see so many badges in the chat supporting the channel. If you've got any really strong points, don't forget we will read them out as a super chat. We're going to get through a lot anyway, but you can do that through the $. Hella says sell. Sunshade says sell. Eriksen sell, says Nick. 81% of you are sell with Christian Eriksen. I think that he played for Denmark yesterday. That is somewhat irrelevant. International football doesn't bother me. I think some Danish paper gave Rasmus a 2 out of 10 yesterday. Apparently he got no service anyway. But look, how he plays for Denmark is irrelevant. Christian Eriksen, for me, was a really important player for Manchester United up until that Andy Carroll tackle over a year ago. He's never really come back since then. The development of Kobe Mainoo has finished him, and that's the circle of football. You know, he's into his 30s now. He's coming towards the end of his career. A younger player has come through. He's on about 140 grand a week. He could go and play in a slower league and play football. I think United, for me, it's absolutely 100% sell. There's just no point. Next player we're going to do is, well, it's a big one. It's a big one. It's a very big one. We're not scared of doing it. We don't shirk anything here for Player FC or anything, but this one will be a big one as he whacks the poll into the chat. Remember, if you're not watching live, you can get your comments in below on what you would agree with and what you would do. Jude says Eriksen's drained as a footballer. How was the pro clubs, Mark, says Curtis? I loved it. Hopefully I'll be back on tomorrow. Right, let me talk about this. Marcus Rashford, start, bench, sell next season. There's so many of these are going to get clipped up by our editor as well. So I'm of the opinion that the club will not sell him. I'm of the opinion that Marcus Rashford, at his best, has to start for Manchester United. But I am also of the opinion that, and watching him for England last night just hammered it home, it's not a Man United thing. He's playing for England, his head's down. There's a point in the game where England are losing 1-0 to Brazil. He's running in from the left wing. Foden's arriving late. Watkins and somebody else are in the box. He's got about 3 seconds to put the cross in, never looks at it, runs into traffic. I mean, he's basically got the opportunity to put a cross in or take on 4 Brazilians. And he takes on 4 Brazilians and loses the ball. We've seen it time and time again for Manchester United. The guy is 26, 27. Like, how many years have people been saying Rashford needs to work on his final ball? He's not working on that final ball. When he gets the ball, this has been going on for 3 or 4 years. People have been saying for 3 or 4 years, the next step for Rashford is to learn to put the ball in the box or play a pass. And he very rarely does it. Doesn't want to do it then, does he? You know, I've played the game. You've played the game. If your manager and your coach is saying you need to learn to pass the ball more and you go on the pitch and you don't, it's like playing pro clubs. We've all played with H, doesn't want to pass, wants to get the shots, and that's absolutely fine because he scores a lot of goals. But if you're not scoring the goals, it becomes a problem. So, look, my problem is, how does Rashford fit in a team that's meant to be a possession-based team? But I would keep and start for another year. I think it's worth another year in a more structured team. It's a little bit like the Ten Hag out brigade for me. The Ten Hag out brigade are not looking at the mitigating circumstances, and next season could be a completely different season to this year. I would keep Rashford next season, but I would have it in my mind, pardon the pun, that if he carries on next season like this season, he ends up being a bench option and then you move him on. I would give him another year. 25% is madness, says Robert McCormack. Let's have a look what you've got. We've got 25% starting Rashford. We've got 20% benching Rashford. And we've got 55% selling Rashford. So there you go. There's your poll on that one. Obviously, I must add a retainer in here. The club are not going to sell him. From one controversial figure to another. I almost feel silly that we're actually doing this, but it is the fans who decide, and you are the democracy tonight. So Bruno Fernandes, start, bench, sell. For me, this again has echoes of Rashford in the sense of I completely take on board that the style of football that Bruno Fernandes plays may not be conducive or compatible with the way we want to play as a possession-based team. However, there is a bigger part of me with Bruno that says if you had a higher line, a better midfield and a better front three, would Bruno still get the ball and blindly hit Hollywood balls. And if he did, he'd have to come out of the team. But I've seen Bruno playing with Portugal, with players like Bernardo Silva, etc. And you do see a different Bruno. So for me, it's a start and it's a keep. And again, like Rashford, I would keep him next season and I would see what he can do. And if it doesn't work, bench, sell next summer. That's what I would do with Rashford. 64% of you would start Bruno, 15% of you would bench Bruno, and 20% of you would sell Bruno. I'm loving this, actually. We've never used the poll system for this, and I think it's great because start means you want to keep him starting, bench means you want to put him on the bench, 20% obviously want to sell him. So interesting about that one. But I think, yeah, we're not going to sell him. Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video because we all know only legends like videos and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching as always.